Richard Nixon, the scandal that took down a president. What if the President of the United States secretly recorded himself while planning a cover-up? This is the story of Richard Nixon and the scandal that destroyed his presidency. In 1972, America was in the middle of a tense presidential election. Nixon was powerful, popular, and expected to win. But behind the scenes, something illegal was already in motion. On June 17, 1972, 5 men were arrested. They had broken into the Democratic National Committee headquarters, located inside the Watergate complex in Washington, D.C. They carried cameras, wiretapping equipment, and large amounts of cash. At first, it seemed like a small political crime. But investigators soon noticed something strange. These men had connections to Nixon's campaign. As journalists and investigators dug deeper, a shocking truth began to emerge. The break-in wasn't random. It was part of a larger plan to spy on political opponents. 2 reporters, Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein, followed the money trail and uncovered links to the White House. Meanwhile, the administration denied everything. But Nixon had a secret. He had installed a recording system inside the Oval Office. Every conversation, every order was taped. When these tapes were discovered, they became the key evidence. Nixon tried to block their release, claiming executive privilege, but the Supreme Court ordered him to hand them over. When the tapes were finally released, they exposed everything. Nixon had tried to stop the FBI investigation. He had approved the cover-up, and he had lied to the public. This wasn't just a scandal anymore. It was abuse of presidential power. Congress began impeachment proceedings. Nixon's support quickly collapsed. Even members of his own party turned against him. And then the inevitable happened. On August 8, 1974, Richard Nixon announced his resignation. The next day, he left the White House, the only U.S. president to ever do so. Nixon was later pardoned by President Gerald Ford, so he never faced criminal trial. But the damage was done. The Watergate scandal changed how Americans viewed their government forever. Trust was broken. Was Nixon the most corrupt president in history? Or just the one who got exposed? One thing is certain. His story remains one of the most shocking political downfalls ever. Subscribe for more real crime and dark history stories, because the truth is always deeper than it seems.